Hi, good evening. This is Alex, founder of Women of Culture, a community designed to connect, empower, and inspire women through meaningful engagement with the arts. Thank you guys for joining our Women of Culture Wednesday series, where I interview different artists about their process and inspirations. And tonight I'm so excited to have Ana Lejava on. I think I may have just butchered her name, but she will pronounce it properly for us when she joins. But she is a dancer, choreographer, human rights, social justice activist who has done a lot of interesting things, originally from Georgia, the country, not the state, and has a background in ballet and has also worked at the UN, among many other things that she is going to tell us more about. So let me just see if she can join us. Hold on just a minute. Oops. All right. Looks like she's connecting. Yay!
Hi.
Got it to work. There's always like a little bit of a lag, so
No worries. Thank you so much for having me. And this is
yeah,
wonderful.
it's so good to see
Good to
you.
see you too. I missed your face.
I know. I was like, we've spoken, but no, it's like nice to see you, even if
Totally.
online.
Absolutely.
So where are you now? Like, I don't even
I'm actually spending some time in Newport, Rhode Island.
know. Oh, it's so beautiful there.
It's been absolutely wonderful to explore and Gilded Age beauty basically.
Oh my gosh, have you been to some of the mansions and all of that?
I did go to the Breakers, which is
Okay.
the old Vanderbilt mansion, and
Yeah.
it's been quite. I didn't really expect that much wealth and beauty all concentrated in a one city, for
Right.
sure.
I know. Sorry, I just realized my phone is dying, so I'm gonna try to plug it in. Okay. Anyways, so yeah, I'd love for you just to introduce yourself in your own words, like tell people who don't know you where you're from and how you first started dancing.
Sure. Also, before I start, I have to mention this is quite confusing. I'm looking at you, but I'm not looking in the camera. So I'm not sure which one to do. So I'm gonna
Uh,
just look at you because
yeah.
you look beautiful. So that's
Thank
what I'm
you.
gonna
Okay.
do.
Yeah, that's fine.
Um, Anyways, I mean, just to introduce myself, my name is Ana Lejava. I'm from Tbilisi, Georgia, so born and raised there. I started dancing with the Georgian traditional dances, which is our national heritage. Basically, most of the young children do Georgian dances, are introduced to the Georgian traditional dance. So that's how I was introduced to dance. My mother, my grandmother were both Georgian traditional dancers. And then somewhere maybe around 9 years old, I switched to classical ballet, and then I got really involved in it. And the rest is a history, I guess. Then
Yeah.
I moved, I moved to the United States when I was 15 for dance.
Wow.
And yeah, that's how I got into dance.
I didn't even realize you were that young, or maybe I knew that already, but yeah, you like left your family and everything.
Yeah, that was quite of a, courageous move on my behalf, but I was really sure what I wanted to do. I think that ballet from a very young age requires so much dedication and so much work that you have to be really set into it. You have to really know that that's what you want to do. And I was just actually talking about this with some other friends that I met up with, how I didn't realize how much of it like obsessive nature ballet has and how much of it's
Mhm.
like kind of draws you in, and it's just then you do basically whatever uh you need to for it. So I saw that as a huge opportunity for me to come to the United States, and
Mhm.
continue dancing here. So despite my young age, despite how attached I was to my family, I kind of just like I made a move, but I never regretted because it opened up so many doors. Like it made me a totally different person. When you travel at a young age and
Mhm.
experience experience this absolute like culture shocks and, overcoming the barriers, especially in such a hard career as ballet, it
Yeah.
really makes you grow fast. And, it's been a blessing, honestly, to have that experience.
Yeah, for sure. I'm curious, like what did you like where did you start dancing when you came to the US? Like you were doing all ballet then?
Yeah, so there is an amazing ballet academy in Washington, D.C. called Kiev Academy of Ballet, and it's
Okay.
founded by a former director of the Mariinsky Ballet Theater in St. Petersburg, Oleg Vinogradov.
Yeah.
And he basically tried to gather the young talents from all around the world and bring them to DC.
Okay.
So he was actually one who invited me to dance at the Kiev Academy of Ballet. And then I continued my high school in Washington, D.C. that was attached to Curao just because I was so young. I obviously needed to
Yeah.
still go to school. But that's how I came to the States, basically.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. Yeah, because I was thinking, I was like, wouldn't it be closer to go to like Russia or like what, you know?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like, when I was 15 and I was looking at like different places to go to from Georgia. I mean, Georgian ballet is very strong. Only problem is that we don't have much competition there, so it's just only one national ballet theater, and there are no other there has not been any other professional dance theaters until maybe 3 years ago when Mariam Alexidze
Okay.
opened up a new contemporary dance company. So there's not much competition and therefore not much, space for development, self-development. And also, like, also I would have to say the culture is very different. Ballet culture in the post-Soviet states is quite brutally competitive, but in not necessarily good way. And in
Right.
the United States, what I found is that it was very empowering, competitive, but I feel like merit-based and very empowering without
Oh.
maybe without too much of this like, background political atmosphere, in the theater. So
Mhm.
and then so I had a choices to go to Moscow or to go to Europe to study. I was considering actually Germany,
Okay.
and then I was considering United States to continue dancing. But as you know, Russia and Georgia do not have a quite good political relations, and especially back then, I feel like it was not necessarily safe for a young Georgian to go to Russia. So and I always loved United States, and I was very political since young age. So I really admired the founding fathers and the principles of Constitution. So I was really excited to come, not just for
Yeah.
dancing, but just to be also part of like United States. So
Yeah.
that's why I made it that choice.
Sorry, excuse me. Some allergies. Anyways, I was gonna say, yeah. So I'm curious, like, how did that go for you coming to DC when you're 15? Did you have any family or know anyone here at that time?
Yes, I actually was really lucky because my aunt and uncle were working at the embassy of Georgia to the
Okay.
United States in DC. So they would, visit me over the weekends and, take me out to their house and like, show me some love, which I really desired because it was just really extremely difficult experience. I mean, we had 8 hours of training every day plus, plus schoolwork and it was
Wow.
just very confined space, like almost like a military.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like some people, I mean, I never danced at that level, but it's like I feel like people sometimes don't realize how hard dancers have to work and
Yeah. I think another thing that's hard about ballet, especially, is that, there's very specific way that either teachers or your director at the company distinguishes you from others, like depending
Okay.
on what roles you get or whatever.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there's no way of like scoring dance. So whenever you get, either promoted or opposite, you basically always have to wonder like, what did I wrong or why am I not good enough? Because they're like unlike in sports, there's no scale or measurement of like what good means.
Right.
And I think that is also like a good and bad part of ballet. Like what drew
Yeah.
me into ballet was that I was so I saw infinite possibilities for improvement.
Mm,
But at the same time, it's dangerous in a way where like where do you stop? It's just you continue, continue, continue. And
mm,
despite that pursuit of perfectionism, you may never get that role you want, or basically be in a constant disappointment. So it like
mm,
mentally, I think it's extremely
yeah,
challenging career and art.
yeah,
And
yeah.
it's interesting. I mean, either it destroys you or it makes you stronger. So yeah.
Yeah, it can be a little bit you start thinking of like Black Swan or something, where like it seems like there's like this dark underside in
I
some
have to
ways.
say, I haven't watched that movie, and
Okay.
I don't know if I ever will, but
Right. Yeah.
maybe too
It may,
close
it
to
may,
home.
yeah, yeah, I understand. So so after DC, I mean, how did you end up like making your way to New York, and yeah, where did you go from there?
Yeah, so I actually auditioned for a bunch of companies, but I set to dance with New Jersey Atlantic City Ballet under artistic
Okay.
director Phyllis Papa. So I spent season there dancing, and I loved it. I enjoyed it. We toured all around the Northeast back then, and we
Okay.
had a pretty good season with like Midsummer Night's Dream. Obviously, Nutcracker is like a staple for every dance
Yeah.
company. So but it was a small company, so I get to dance lots of different roles, which was also really, good because
Yeah.
you don't really get that in a larger company. But it
Right.
was a wonderful experience. Probably like my
Yeah.
favorite year, it was amazing.
Oh, really? Oh, nice. That's great. And then I know that you sort of left dance for a while, and I was wondering if you could talk about that and some of your other interests as well. Oh,
Alexandra, I
you
lost you.
froze for a
I
minute.
didn't hear that. Yeah, I didn't
No,
hear the
that's okay.
question.
No, no worries. Yeah. No, I was just curious, like, because I know that you actually left the dance for a little while and have done other things as well. And I was just wondering if you could talk a bit more about that.
Yeah, so I actually I decided to go to college when I was 22.
Okay.
So basically, my ballet career had just begun, but I still decided to go to college because I had a full scholarship. And I really wanted to learn dance in more like a higher education level way because,
Mhm.
at the university level, you learn dance not as just like as a practitioner, but you also learn choreographic aspects of it and also, different styles of dance. And
Oh, I think she froze again. All right. Oh, that's
I'm so
okay.
sorry.
That's
Am
okay.
I
No worries.
back? Okay, this
You're
is
back.
hilarious. So,
No
so
worries.
what I had, actually, what just happened, I have to share. I have a screen time password. I mean, screen time limit on how much time I spend on Instagram. So I guess this has been the like
Oh
the
no, I'm
most.
getting you in trouble.
I know you're getting me in like my social, you know, trouble. It's okay. I'm happy to be here. But anyway, what I was saying is that I went to college to study dance, but I ended up double majoring in political science. And
Oh,
by my senior level of senior year, I was so into political science, especially focusing on the international human rights, that I kind of when I was graduating, I decided to leave the professional ballet and get into international career fields. So I started first interning at the Human Rights First, and then working at the UN. So that's kind of like that was my gap. Like so I would
yeah.
say like 3 years gap before I went back to dance.
Wow. Oh, you just got the nicest comment ever. I don't know if you can read if you saw it from Julia. That's so sweet. Very true from what I know as well.
Oh, Julia is amazing. Thanks, Julia. I love you. Actually, Julia is amazing herself. I'm a part of a group that she organized. We're reading Shakespeare every
Ooh.
Sunday. We just finished Romeo and
Oh,
Juliet, and we had this like huge discussion about it. And it's just absolutely wonderful. During this COVID-19 era, I feel like somehow social media really like helped me to like get
Mm.
closer to my friends, as
Yeah,
hard as it has been. I think that, we got closer to each other somehow. I don't know.
that's
So
yeah, yeah, that's good. I think we definitely need those community and connections right
for
now.
sure, for sure. And
So,
honestly, Alexandra, thank you for doing this. This is
yeah,
wonderful. And because so
yeah.
many people lost platforms, I mean, especially
Mm,
dancers and artists, and this is a great opportunity
yeah.
for everyone.
Yeah, yeah, I know it's hard. I'm missing, watching dance and other, performing arts, and I can only imagine how hard it is for artists to not be able to perform and share their work in the traditional way. I mean, it's like, online, but it's not the same.
I
So,
absolutely agree. It's crazy.
yeah. So yeah, no, I love that, you obviously, as Julia said, you're obviously a talented dancer, but you're also smart and you have other interests. And so I was curious how you got interested in like politics, and you said you were always sort of political when you were younger. And yeah, if you could just tell us more about that and how.
Yeah, I mean, so as Georgia is a post-Soviet country, so I was born in 90s. So
Yeah.
we went through a civil war. We went through this like transition from command economy, total destruction of our monetary value, and then like absolute poverty in 90s, where like people really didn't know what future was. I mean, they loved the idea of democracy, loved the idea of capitalism, but nobody really knew what it looked like or what it
Mm,
was like to actually be a citizen of a free nation and capitalistic market. So at
yeah.
that moment, like lots of people, politicians who were basically, you know, coming from influenced by Russia were really corrupt and corrupted the regime and really took advantage of that moment. So
Mm,
politics was like really big part of basically every family in Georgia. So even as a young kid, I was not shied away from any political TV programming.
yeah.
I don't know for the worse or for good. Like I became very
Right.
political. And I have to say, I mean, even when I was little and going to ballet, like one of the reasons why I was so motivated to like excel at my, profession was that
Mm,
I wanted to eventually like this was my naive self like telling myself I wanted to eventually deserve a respect of my society so I could have a say in something.
mm,
I could have a say in, political or social life of my community. And I think
mm,
that just kept growing and growing as I became artist and then as I went to college and etc. So
mm,
yeah, I do see dance as a tool for, is either using as a platform for raising awareness on something, but also like empowering stage where you can actually speak up
mm,
to your community about the issues that are dear to you. So yeah,
yeah.
it's been my interest from like very young age. And then I would say maybe after the United Nations work, when I went back to dance and I moved
Mm,
to more like modern contemporary dance scene in New York
mm,
City, that's when I really discovered absolutely amazing and like powerful um, power of dance to make change and to drive the change. So
yeah.
yeah, kind of led
Yeah.
to things.
Yeah, no, it's so beautiful because I mean I'm obviously like a huge fan of dance, but it's not something that I normally like in the past had thought of as like being a platform or I mean obviously all art has a message, but do
Yeah.
you yeah, like how do you think like or why do you think dance is a good sort of art form for conveying
Yeah.
different messages?
I
Yeah.
mean, I think that they're like, I have a list of things that I think that explains why it's a
Yeah.
good tool. And I would start with maybe talking dance as a tool to bring communities together. And
Yeah.
that's not even an innovative idea. It's definitely
Right.
not, that has been already done for centuries ago.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
all this like social dances that were happening and then folklore all came from the community getting together and, using the universal language of movement to connect with each other,
Mm-hmm.
even when maybe languages failed or the written communications failed. So I think that the dance has that absolutely historic power of bringing communities together. I think that's number one. I think number two, as a, more on a professional side of it, a formal side of it, choreographers have an extremely powerful tool of creating a language or creating a movement that
Mm-hmm.
basically arouses the feelings in the audience that necessarily may not be understood by simple written message or political speech, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
how many times, for example, you have left the performance feeling something, but not really like understanding or pinpointing what exactly you are feeling. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that dance has that power to make people realize something greater, like transcend maybe like the very literal, very, I would say maybe very like at that moment
Mm-hmm.
subjects, and kind of,
Right.
make the audience think about like this transcending nature of like the what's underneath, like what's
Mm-hmm.
underneath of the problems that we are facing right now, like
Yeah.
what is the fundamental moral dilemma that we're facing that basically causes these social justice issues to arise, and I think
Yeah.
dance has that like extremely beautiful power to address those like fundamentals of it that touches
Right.
humans feelings that are not made. Yeah, I went on this, but that's basically like two.
Yeah.
I would say number three, it's the educational power of dance,
Mm-hmm.
especially amongst the young girls and women. I
Yeah.
think it has, like right now, with Smashwork Dance that I'm involved with, we have tried to, come up with the ways where we can use dance as a confidence building measure
Mm-hmm.
with the young children, especially young girls, and to empower them. It also has the extremely therapeutic effect for young children,
Mm-hmm.
dance does.
Yeah.
And I would say last and not least, people who are, the faces of dance today, whether it will be ballet or, uh, you know, classical ballet, modern dancer, etc. They have really a platform. Like there are a lot of people that respect them, so they can speak up and,
Mm-hmm.
demonstrate their criticism of whatever they don't like. So I think there are many different ways dance has a
Yeah. Yeah.
important space in the society.
Yeah, and for sure I like what you said about it. Sometimes it can say things that words can't, and it, express emotions in a very like visceral level that, sometimes you don't get through words. So I think that's really really powerful. I was curious, just sort of going going backwards a little bit, but just what do you think that you just drew you to dance originally? I mean, you said you started out doing like traditional Georgian dance,
Hmm.
and then how did you get more interested in ballet and now modern?
Yeah, so I think that, traditional Georgian dance was kind of like it was meant to be, like, everybody was doing it. I was dropped into it. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. It's almost like a soul of every Georgian, and it's part of our culture to also dance traditional dances. So absolutely, I absolutely admire Georgian dance, and I get shivers when I listen to Georgian music. But then when I was, around 9 years old, I just took some classes, actually, interestingly, from Tsiskari Balanchivadze, who was the niece of George Balanchine, which is the great American
Oh wow.
choreographer who nobody knows that is actually Georgian. And his
Oh,
family,
I didn't know that.
yeah, yeah. So George Balanchine, his real Georgian name is Georgi Balanchivadze. Then it was transformed by Diaghilev into Balanchine, so it was better understood by the European audiences.
Oh wow.
So yeah, my first teacher was Tiskara Balanchivadze, and she's like absolutely, I would say, ephemeral, like unrealistic person. Like, I mean, she's still alive, but she's as
Yeah.
beautiful as ever. She's just an amazing
Mhm.
person. So I feel like seeing her being so elegant and so graceful, and also seeing like some kind of moral purity in her. Like, I totally fell in love with dance through her.
Yeah.
fell in love in ballet through her. And then also like when I continued and continued, I saw this kind of almost alternate reality, like the more perfect copy of reality into this ballet world, that it tried to demonstrate. Of course, it was like a naive idea of it, because
Right.
when I actually grew up and I spent years in the ballet world, and I realized that what actually drew me towards ballet, this bubbly, a fairy tale like, effect of it, actually was the one that drew me out when I was
Mm,
at the later stage of my life, because I just couldn't relate to it anymore. I was like, I had gone through life, I had seen some, difficult times and, emotional struggle, and then I just could not relate to that, all perfect, aesthetic of ballet. So then that's how I made the switch to contemporary dance, because it's just more real.
mm-hmm. Yeah, that's interesting. And yeah, I'm curious to also just like you were saying that American ballet, at least the training or schools are a bit different than like what you experience, and I like you just
Yeah.
tell about that.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how much I want to talk about my school in Georgia, but
Yeah,
it's
right.
I
If it's bad
no,
memories, no.
it's not even just bad memories. It just, I feel
Yeah.
like for Americans it would be extremely weird to
Uh,
hear what I like. For example, like it's first of all, it's a state funded official ballet school where it's like
right.
really hard to get in.
Uh,
And if you get in, it's totally free education and you're just trained to be a dancer and get out of it as a career ballerina. When I feel in the United States, it's more like a studio based, right? There's no like one school besides maybe two schools, SAB and, Curve Academy in DC, that provide that kind of,
mm,
complete curriculum plus dance training. So you have these people dancing in different dance studios, and
right.
then kind of realizing by themselves whether they want to go into the profession seriously or not. Where in my world, basically, you're almost like chosen and put onto the path,
Okay.
Um, but I would say like I would say maybe that the the curriculum is not as strict, for
Yeah.
example, United States, as it is in in my part of the world.
Right.
I would say the dancers are getting to know much diverse
Mm,
techniques, and again, that's very technical debate. I
right.
think that I think that if we had more like a technical discussion about ballet in
Mm,
general, we would get into the like specifics of like, oh, is it better to train in one specific technique or learn many different, or but that is like, for me, that is not important anymore, because I don't see dance only as like I don't see the goal of dance to raise a prima ballerina. I see a role of dance to raise a beautiful human with capability to change the world. So that's how I look at dance right now. So for me, it's hard to even, debate about that, because
yeah.
it just seems so petty to like other opportunities that dancer can have.
Right, right. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, it's not yeah, I mean even I think, from my experience of like ballet being can be a bit like, narrow. It's like very strict even, in America to some extent. So I can see what you mean by that. But I'm curious like what you're working on now, any projects, anything like have you been able to dance in this crazy
No,
situation?
unfortunately, I have not.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
Yeah.
I have not. I have danced in my dreams several times. But I mean, literally, I woke up like sweating and I thought I was on stage dancing. And
Wow.
I didn't know what to do, cry or laugh about it,
Oh my
honestly. But
God.
yeah, and I mean, it's been a really tough several months. I
Yeah.
actually made a decision to go back to Georgia and spend some time there.
Yeah.
And I think that for me, it's important to reconnect with my roots. And especially like as I'm working on my own choreographic language and trying to discover what that is. And, like I have actually showcased one choreography with you at the Women in Culture event. I
Yeah.
think that it's important for me to go back to where I came from and like discover
Mhm.
my roots again and get close to them too, because it's choreography is an extremely hard profession and it
Yeah.
takes years and years of experimenting and creating to really discover your own language. So I think
Yeah.
that I'm going to use this pause kind of in New York dance scene to go back and do that.
Mhm.
But as far as more like on Smashwork side, where I kind of oversee the advocacy efforts there, we have great news, and Ashley McQueen, who you had as a guest,
Yeah.
has done amazing job leading the company, and then it's just an amazing group of women who are all supportive of each other and moving us forward. And we have a huge announcement that Rebel Girls, which is a publisher of
Okay.
the Good Night Stories for Rebel Girls.
Okay.
They have actually just came out with a new book about Alicia Alonso,
Mhm.
almost the Cuban ballerina who became super successful. It's an amazing chapter book for young girls.
Oh,
And they asked us to collaborate on it and create an activities within the
cool.
book. So, we have done that with them. We didn't know if it was actually going to happen or not, but it was actually just published and came out
Oh,
on August 18th. So we're just, I mean, we're just like incredibly happy for that and kind of
yeah.
continue to promote that and see where it leads us. Also, another thing that Smashworks Dance is working on is that we are submitting the Dance the Vote in St. Louis. It's a call
Oh,
up with the Missouri History Museum to promote the voter registration. So
oh,
that's something that Ashley and the team is working on, and like I'm
oh,
really cheering for them and
yeah.
seeing where it goes. But I'm just happy to see that Smashwork Dance is like keeps going
Yeah.
despite
Yeah.
the challenges that we're all facing right now. So yeah.
Right.
That's
Oh,
kind
that's
of like,
awesome. I think I see Ashley here. I assume that's her. Smash in the
yes.
City. Yeah. That's awesome. Oh, I have to check that out.
Yeah, you guys, whoever is watching, you have to check out Smashworks Dance, of course, and
Yeah. Yes,
and
for
follow
sure.
us.
I second that. Um, and yeah, so I didn't, when are you going back home? When are you, and how long are you planning, or do you know yet?
I think that, I'll spend year or
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
far.
Yeah.
I really would love to, I have so we never mentioned this, but when I was the young ambassador of Georgia to the United States, I started this kind of almost volunteering project where I went to the bordering villages to the occupied territories by Russia in the South
Oh,
Ossetia, and I went into the villages to do some, raising awareness and also like philanthropic work with the children there. And I would love to just continue doing that. Even me and Ashley talked about it that I would love to bring Smashworks dance workshop to
mm,
those villages and maybe
mm,
bring together young children there to teach them dance and just kind of have that very direct communication with them
right.
on a weekly basis. And if I can be any kind of a mentor or maybe even teach them English, like that would be, I think, very empowering. So I'm
Yeah.
kind of planning some project around that. And I just want to take time to give back to my community in Georgia
Yeah.
during this time.
Yeah, I forgot to mention that you have taught dance a lot as
Yeah,
well.
a
So
lot, all my life.
yeah.
I feel
Yeah.
like as soon as you leave like the professional ballet career track
Mhm.
and you become more like a freelance dancer choreographer, you have to teach to survive.
Right.
But it's also so empowering because
Mhm.
it gives you this incredible opportunity to spend time with young generation of dancers and like share whatever mistakes maybe you have made as a young dancer and
Yeah.
maybe not let them to be obsessive but to enjoy themselves and like really appreciate this like incredible power of self-expression through dance. So I mean that's been probably one of the most empowering thing for
Mhm.
me and rewarding to teach.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, and I'm excited that you're continuing to choreograph. And it's is that I'm curious. Like I didn't prep you for this question, so I don't know if you have an
It's
answer.
okay.
I would like do you. What is your dream right now? I mean, would you like to, have your own company, or like you want to choreograph for other people, or I don't
Yeah.
know.
No, I think like I would not want to have my own company.
Okay.
I mean,
Okay. It's a lot of work.
Like Ashley is watching and like
Yeah.
she knows what it is to be like artistic director and the founder of a dance company.
Yeah.
I think you have to put so many different hats on, and I think you have to be incredibly dedicated to just that. And way I see my life is more like being a support system for people who want to take their, dance companies or work and then put it in more like a social justice, political activism lane. So I think, I guess, like my only dream is to have a purpose in life and help others.
Yeah.
Um, and I guess like right now I'm trying to figure out what's the best way to do that.
Yeah.
But I don't have any specific dreams in like, I'm past
Right.
that stage where I want to become a prima ballerina in a
Right.
tutu or no,
Right.
no more. But choreographic dream I think would be to really find my language, find my own language of choreography
Mhm.
and really create maybe for others or for
Mhm.
dance companies
Mhm.
for different events. But I think that whatever I will create, it will have political undertones to it, and it will
Yeah.
serve certain kind of purpose. Very different from what Balanchine wanted to do, right? Like when people used to ask Balanchine, like, why did you create that, or what was the meaning behind that, or this? He used to always say, why do you like the rose? What's behind the story of a rose? It's just the beautiful and it's just
Right.
flowers. So he wanted to create this dance that was extremely beautiful and pleasant to an eye. I think that there are many people doing that right now. I don't need to put my, efforts in it. And
Right.
yeah, I guess if I want to create something that is raising awareness of Georgia or the
Mhm.
conflicts that we have there, or specific issue of hate and authoritarianism that is so, prevalent in our culture and is like destroying our generation. And yeah, address those issues basically.
Yeah, awesome. Well, I'm super excited to see where this journey takes you, and I
Thank
know,
you.
yeah, I know it's gonna be, I know you're gonna, continue to kind of spread light wherever you go as you
Oh,
do.
thank you,
So,
Alexandra. Thank you.
yeah.
And I hope you continue doing this. And I remember 3 years ago when we met, and I was just joining Smashworks and you're just starting this. And it's been a beautiful journey to see you
Yeah.
grow. And good
Thank you.
luck with everything. I really have a huge respect for you.
Oh, thank you. Well, it was so nice to chat, and
It was very nice as
I
well.
know, I know. I hope I'll see you maybe before you leave, maybe not, but we'll we'll figure that
I
out.
hope so. I hope so.
Okay. Well, thank
All
you
right.
so much.
Kisses. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.